are kids reacting to you being home?
So they were initially elated, very, very joyful to have me. And now, 2 years in, there are definitely mental illness damage, trauma damage that they have experienced because of me, right? And that's all kind of still coming up gradually, and we're having to address things, and it's a healing process, and we're working on it, but there's lots of love there, And
Do you feel like a huge weight on your shoulders that you had to put them through that because of your actions?
Ian, there are days, and I don't talk about it a lot, maybe a few videos. There are days that the guilt still eats me so bad that I don't get out of bed. Like that guilt that your actions affected somebody negatively, somebody that you love with your whole life, in the way that my actions did. Yeah, it's a rough go of things, but we're all still working on it.
And you do end up getting out of bed and you keep going. What gives you that, energy to get yourself out of bed in those dark times?
So there's a lot of things that keep me going, and I want for my kids to not, I don't want to die and my kids be like, yeah, my mom went to prison. I want to die and my kids be like, my mom made big changes because her experience in prison. Like my mom, she helped to get bills passed and make things better, and I want them to look at me like that. So
what do you end up doing for work after you get out?
So my first job was Amazon. I worked there for 1.5 years. They hired felons. It's the first job I applied for. I got it, and it was good. So.
But eventually you leave that?
I was able to quit Amazon because I had a couple opportunities come to me as a result of social media. I started sharing my story online.
Why did you decide to get into social media? We'll start with that.
So my parents, my dad's a musician. My dad and my brother are musician. In Fort Worth, they're known. Everybody knows them. They have a big party. I've been home. It was in June. I got home in March. The party's in June. And there are hundreds of people there. And I'm up on the stage like, thank y'all for coming. It's my mom and dad's 40th anniversary. And my brother has a new EP out. Like, we're just celebrating all these things. And I'm saying things like, I'm just so glad to be home and be a part of it. And I look out and I see people question, like, what is she talking about? Where has she been? Like, they don't know. And so I learned from that my parents had not openly told people I was in prison. They told their close friends. And so I'm like, Dad, what's up? This feels really weird. And he's like, well, that's your story. We didn't know how you would feel when you got home. We didn't want to tell your story. And so I thought, all right. So I made a TikTok. And I showed my first prison content TikTok was me showing my mugshot, and I put it on my parents' Facebooks. So that's how, I just wanted it to be like, I'm here. I went to prison. It doesn't have to be weird,
But you knew going into sharing your story that you had a positive mindset. You wanted to spread awareness. You weren't trying to get back into anything that you had done before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't trying to get back into anything. When I started posting on social media, it was really with the mindset of, hey, people need to know that there are people that make very poor decisions. People mess up and make bad decisions every day, but it doesn't mean we're going to continue to do that. And it doesn't mean we have to hide like I shouldn't have to feel like I need to hide under a rock somewhere because I did this bad thing.
And because of your authenticity and your truthfulness in these videos, they start to go viral, and Rosie ODonnell comes across your page. What happens?
So Rosie ODonnell sends me a private message on TikTok, and I'm like looking at her account, making sure it has like the little blue check mark. Like, is this really her? And she's like, we need to talk. I really like your channel. And I got to have a few conversations with her, and that evolved into a production deal.
That's amazing. That's like really a good ending to like that whole ordeal and that whole story of what you went through and whatnot. So you got this deal. What's going to happen next? Is it becoming like a TV show?
So we're looking at a TV show. We're looking at like 4 seasons, and it's going to be about my life outside of prison. It's Rosie O'Donnell, right? So you can expect there to be some humor in it and some lightheartedness. It's going to show interactions like me healing with my family, how it is getting a job, how all of that looks. And it's also going to have flashbacks of prison. It's going to show what a Texas prison looks like. And I think that people are going to be really surprised at the conditions.
Do you think getting this TV deal has helped with your healing process for everything you went through? The crimes, not only the crimes you committed, but the 10 years you spent inside prison too?
So I don't think that necessarily the TV deal has started to help me with that so much as sharing my story, Ian. It's very therapeutic to have a community online that I can just tell my story. I encourage people, even if they don't post your video, even if you make a video and never post it, but if you make a video of your story and watch it, there's something healing in that.
Now, I know as a parent, like my parents, when I went to prison, they're looked at a certain way for having like a son or a daughter in prison. What's it like for you as a mom and like your kid's perspective that they're maybe getting teased about, or other moms are looking at you being the mom that went to prison?
That's a great question. There is definitely a stigma around when you have a family member in prison, and definitely my kids felt that. I asked the question because somebody on TikTok asked me, did your kids ever get teased? So I asked my older kids, did anybody ever tease you? And my daughter said, yeah, Mom, that's the first thing that they want to throw up in your face when you get in an argument with somebody. At least my mom's not in prison, that kind of thing. And
kids are vicious.
Yes, kids are hurtful and mean. So that's for sure. And so my oldest 3 are grown now, and they're open-minded, and they don't experience any kind of grief from that. They more experience, hey, I saw your mom on TikTok, and that's kind of cool, right? So, but my 2 middle school girls, it's still their friends' parents know I was locked up. I'm not trusted by them yet. I don't live in their community, so they're not seeing directly how I operate day to day. And there's definitely challenges with that. I can't volunteer at their school.
They won't let you volunteer.
They won't let me volunteer at their school. My prior incarcerated life, I was a big school volunteer. I was at the school all the time with my kids. It's very different.
Wow. Are there any relationships aside from your girlfriend that you've kept in touch with from prison? Any good friends you've met along the way?
And I have met an entire community along the way. So just the ladies that I was locked up with, we definitely have a community online. Whenever, like if I go to Houston, they're going to be in Houston. When I go to Austin, we're all going to go to dinner. There's definitely people across the state that we know that we keep in contact, like social media wise. There's women that are still incarcerated that I talk to regularly. My very best friend's still locked up. We talk almost every day, mail back and forth. There's definitely. And then beyond that, this community of like social media, prison TikTokers, or whatever you want to call them, people that get out of prison and share their story and get into advocacy work and want to make a difference. And I've found a wonderful community there as well.
How different do you think your life would be now if you never jumped into social media, jumped into TikTok? You didn't have the courage to share your story with the world.
I have such a joy from sharing my story. I'm just trying to think, like my first year out when I wasn't sharing my story, it was still navigating the world was still confusing. I was spending all of my time with like trying to rebuild relationships with my family. So it's hard for me to say like it would be different than that. I feel like I wouldn't feel like I have a purpose. Like if I was here, I am just going to work at Amazon every day, picking Amazon orders. It's not the kind of purpose that I feel that I have today.
And on that note, for the people that watch your videos, they're paying attention to your story, what is your message to them? What do you want to, what do you want the takeaway to be from your story?
I think it's important that everybody know that the people that go to prison, most of them are broken long before they get to prison, that circumstances, I think someone that grows up like me doesn't realize what a difference bad circumstances and being raised in different environments can put you on the prison pipeline before you're even out of grade school. And then I also want people to know that the people I was in prison with, no matter what if they were serving 2 life sentences on a murder charge, or if they were serving 2 years on a possession charge, I never came across anybody that was like, yeah, I'm glad I can't wait to get home and do that again, and I would do it again if I had the chance. No, it's women that are broken and hurting and feeling guilty and wanting to do right and wishing they could change things. So
well said. I'm a big believer in, everything happens for a reason, and we're given these individual stories and experiences that have the ability to not only change our lives, but to change other people's lives. And it's up to us that have these unique experiences to share them and put them out and be vulnerable with the world. And you're definitely doing that. Really excited for when your TV show comes out, and excited to, I always get excited when you pop up on my page, because you're never in a bad mood on social media. You're like, hey, y'all. And I remember when I met you in Texas for the first time, you exude so much energy and positivity. And like I was saying before, you're that mom of the prison TikTokers. It's quite a title, quite an honor, We got to find out who the dad of the prison TikTokers is. Maybe it's Jesse. I could see Jesse being it. But Marcy, thank you for coming on Locked In today. It's been great talking with you, and, I wish you the best with everything.
Thanks for having me, Ian. I really appreciate it. Good speaking with you too.
Awesome.